Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
The world is full of threads you cannot see. They do not shine like silk. They do not hum like a harp, yet they are there, gentle and patient, holding things together. They run through the air and the ground and the space between stars. They pass through your hands and your hair. They curl around a magnet on a fridge and drift across the sky with sunlight. They are the quiet lines of push and pull that shape almost everything. We call them electromagnetic fields, but you can think of them like soft strings drawn across the world, always ready to tug, to guide, to whisper yes or no. Imagine standing in a room where dust floats in a beam of morning light. The dust turns and tilts as if the beam tells it what to do. The light is part of the field. Light is how a field waves hello across space. It carries a small packet of itself called a photon, which is like a tiny messenger with both an electric side and a magnetic side dancing together. When the light touches your skin, a soft warmth spreads. You do not see the field as a grid or a net. You only feel its gifts, warmth on your cheek, the ease of sight, the life in a leaf that drinks the sun. Hold a small magnet in your palm. Bring it near a paper clip on a table. The paper clip slides closer as if a hand reached out from the empty air. That hand is the magnetic field around the magnet. It is not a ghost. It is not a trick. It is a pattern made by the magnet that tells bits of iron which way to line up. The closer the clip, the stronger the pull. If you could see the field, you might watch its lines sweep from one end of the magnet to the other, like hair being combed. These lines do not live only around magnets. They overflow from electric currents too. When charges move, a magnetic field blooms around the path like ripples around a canoe. Now rub a balloon on your sweater and lift it to your hair. Your hair rises and reaches for the balloon. It is as if each strand wants to say hello. That is an electric field at work. Rubbing moved charges from one place to another, leaving a small crowd in one spot and a small emptiness in the other. The crowd and the emptiness pull on each other. This pull stretches through space as an electric field. It can push or pull without touching. You cannot see the path it takes, but you can see its effect. Hair that floats, bits of paper that leap, a spark that cracks when you reach for a doorknob on a dry day. Think of charges as tiny characters who love balance. When too many gather in one place, they look out toward open space and wish to spread. When too few gather, they call to any charge passing by. The field is their language. It says, "Come closer," or "Please move away." It is a gentle voice that weakens with distance. Near the charge, the voice is loud. Far away, it is only a hush. Many charges together sing a kind of quiet song that shapes the field around them. The song bends, swirls, and combines with other songs from other charges, and the result is the invisible weather of push and pull that fills the room you are in right now. Inside an atom, these same threads hold fast. A small, heavy center sits there, a nucleus with protons that carry a positive charge. Around it, light electrons move. The electrons are not little planets and their paths are not hard tracks, but they are kept close by the pull of the nucleus. The electric field of the protons reaches out and says, "Stay near." The electrons answer. They form soft clouds like mist around a warm stone. These clouds rise and fall and shift in patterns we call orbitals, but for now it is enough to know this. The field keeps the atom together. Without it, electrons would wander away, and matter would drift apart like fog at noon. When many atoms join, the fields around them mix and set the rules for how they meet. Why does salt crystal form sharp cubes? Why does water bend light and carry sound and cling to the side of a glass? The answers are stories told by fields. The shape of a crystal is a map of how charges prefer to sit in neat rows. The way water holds to itself is a tale of tiny pulls between its parts, a partial charge here, a partial charge there, arms reaching out and clasping. Even the way your hand feels smooth wood is a field story. You do not touch the wood in the deepest sense. The electric fields of your skin and the wood press against each other and say, "Close enough," and your nerves read that as touch. If you could watch time flow like a river, you would see patterns that hold across tiny and huge scales. A wire carries a small river of charges. As they move, they call a magnetic field into being. Wrap that wire into a loop, and the field wraps with it like a friendly snake. Put a second loop nearby, and the changing field in the first loop whispers to the second. Make your own current. This is induction, a soft trick of nature that lets us build transformers and motors. The field does not need a solid bridge, it lanes through space and shares its motion. A change in the electric side makes a magnetic side. A change in the magnetic side makes an electric side. They chase each other like two children circling a tree, each making the other laugh. The Earth itself wears a slow, broad magnetic coat. Deep inside, hot metal moves and stirs. These motions make fields that reach far into space. A tiny compass in your hand is like a leaf on a pond, turning to lie along the quiet flow of the field. Birds may feel this flow. Sea turtles may read it when they cross the wide ocean. Even the shimmer that dances above the poles, the northern lights, is a field painting made when swift particles from the sun run into the Earth's magnetic coat and the air begins to glow. The sky becomes a page, and the field writes in light. You might think fields live outside you, but they also live within. Each beat of your heart is guided by a small wave of electricity moving across your heart's cells. Nerves carry messages with tiny charges that flow and rest, like people passing a lantern down a long line. Your eyes take in light, and the light starts small electric changes in cells that send a message to your brain. The fields that run through wires also run through you, but in a quiet, careful way, tuned by nature so the message is clear and safe. You are part of the grand weave. You are not separate from it. Sometimes people ask, where is a field? Is it only where I place a magnet? Is it only near a wire? The deeper answer is softer. A field is a way the world holds the promise of a force at every point in space. It is like saying the air in a room holds the promise of a breeze even when the window is closed. If you open the window, the breeze can move you. If you set a charge here or make a current there, the field shows how other charges would feel a push. It is a map laid over the world, a map that is always there, even when the travelers are yet to walk its roads. Long ago, people learned to tame these threads. They wound wires into coils and watched needles turn. They made sparks that leapt and bells that rang. Then they sent voices down long lines, and later they sent pictures through the air. Today, the field carries your songs and stories across towns and seas. Your phone speaks to a tower by sending tiny ripples through the open air. The tower answers. The light in a fiber thread under the street carries streams of color and sound. At each turn, the field is there, patient, reliable, faster than you can blink, moving at the speed of light because it is light. If you stand very still at night and listen, you may feel a hush that seems to come from the ground itself. Stars shine from so far away that their light has traveled for years and years to reach your eyes. That light is a field wave, electric and magnetic sides wrapped together, crossing the great dark without tiring. It left a star that may now be gone. It brings you a story written long ago. When it brushes your eye, a tiny change starts, and your mind shapes the change into a picture, a memory. The field is a messenger, but it is also the message. Its very shape tells you about the star, how hot, how old, what color, whether it trembles. People sometimes fear what they cannot see. They worry about fields the way one might worry about shadows, but most fields are as gentle and steady as day and night. The sun's light warms plants, their leaves turn the gift into food. Your home is lit by wires that carry a tamed field. Your radio hums with a signal too soft to hear without help. There are rules, of course, to keep strong fields from harming, but the rules are part of love, like using a stove with care. The same threads that could burn also bake bread. The field is not friend or foe on its own. It is a tool the world uses to shape itself. Think of color for a moment. Red, blue, green, these are not paints in the sky. They are notes in the song of the field. Short waves feel sharp and blue. Long waves feel warm and red. Your eyes have tiny helpers that notice these different notes. Together they let you see a sunset, a ripe mango, a deep lake. Bees see more than you do. They can sense patterns in the ultraviolet beyond your reach, and flowers write secret signs in that light. Radio waves are longer still, rolling hills in the field that carry weather news and music. X-rays are shorter and can slip between atoms to make pictures of bones. All of it is one family, the light you know and the light you cannot see yet. Let us return to the paper clip and the magnet. What happens inside that small piece of metal? In its heart are tiny regions where the atoms agree to point their little magnetic arrows the same way. In plain life, each region points a different way and the metal is calm. When the magnet comes near, its field asks the regions to line up. Many obey, and now the metal itself becomes a small magnet. The field grows stronger. The clip moves. Take the magnet away, and the clip forgets and relaxes, unless it has learned to keep some of that order. This learning, this memory of fields, is how we make hard drives and many other tools that store songs and pictures and words. Touch a switch on a wall, a circuit wakes. Charges begin to drift in the wires, slow as ants but steady. Their motion calls a magnetic field into the space around the wire. The changing field in one part of your home speaks quietly to parts across the room. In a transformer, one coil hums and another answers. A small change in the electric side becomes a safe, useful change in the other coil. Your lamp glows. Your book page turns warm in the circle of light. You feel the peace of a room made friendly by design, all because the field agrees to carry work from place to place without hands. Many of the smallest things in nature are decided by these threads. Why does a gecko walk on glass? The answer lies in tiny, weak pulls between molecules called van der Waals forces, which are born from brief dances of charges and fields. Why does a drop of water form a bead? The surface is a tight film made by small electric pulls between water molecules. Why does your sweater crackle in winter? Dry air lets charges build up, and when they jump, the field makes a spark. The spark is a tiny bit of light, a quick wave, a brief hello from the electric and magnetic sides as they trade energy yet again. Sometimes we speak of laws. We say, this is how fields behave. We have names for these rules. We speak of how a field becomes weaker as you move away. We speak of how fields change when charges move. We speak of how nothing can carry a message faster than light because the field itself sets the speed limit. But deeper than rules is a feeling that the world is simple and kind in its base. A few quiet ideas explain a great many things. Fields are one of these ideas. They are the single thread that runs through magnets on shelves, phones in pockets, stars in the sky, and atoms in your tea. Think of all the places the field is busy right now. In hospitals, a great magnet sings to water in the body and makes pictures of organs, helping doctors find what needs care. In classrooms, tiny chips use fields to switch on and off thousands of times in the blink of an eye, turning numbers into letters and songs. In farms, sunlight falls on leaves, and inside, electrons climb small steps of energy and begin a dance that ends with sugar, the sweet sleep food of the plant. In the sky, a storm gathers. Lightning is a rush to balance, a great electric river that jumps between cloud and ground, shaping the air into a bright path for a moment before the dark returns. You are breathing as you read, and the air that fills your chest carries small molecules that also tug and sway with fields. The smell of rain, the scent of bread, the perfume of a rose, each one is a shape that fits into a small pocket in your nose and sets off an electric message. The message runs along nerves to your brain. Their fields guide more messages as networks of cells talk among themselves. Memories wake and line up like birds on a wire. You feel hunger or calm or joy. You are a living map of fields, changing and steady at once. Now imagine the space between your hands. It feels empty, but fields pass through it every moment. Light from a lamp crosses it. The Earth's magnetic coat moves through it. The small currents in your body send their whispers through it. What looks like nothing is always full of unseen threads. You live in a web so fine, so constant, that it is easy to forget it is there. Yet if it vanished, the world you know would vanish too. Fields are not just hidden forces. They are the very breath of matter, the very weave of reality itself. Now let us drift deeper into the quiet fabric of these unseen threads. Imagine the way the ocean pulls and pushes in slow waves. The sea has tides that follow the moon, and though the moon itself is far away, its presence is felt in every bay and shore. Electromagnetic fields are much the same. They ripple across space, carrying energy the way waves carry water. They move without needing a medium, unlike sound that must ride on air or water. They are their own vessel and their own song. When a field changes, when an electric side shifts, the magnetic side answers. Together they rise and fall, moving outward as light, as radio, as warmth. The ripple needs no rope, no chain. It is free, but it remains tied to the rule that it always travels at the speed of light. That speed is not just a number. It is the heartbeat of the universe's communication. Consider the sunlight that reaches a leaf. Inside that thin green blade, pigments wait to catch the photons, the tiny parcels of the field. When a photon arrives, it shares its energy. The energy excites electrons, makes them step upward like dancers climbing to a brighter stage. Soon, that energy passes along chains of molecules until it becomes sugar scent. Toward sunlight, the food you eat is not just matter. It is sunlight caught and saved, the energy of the field woven into a form your body can use. Every apple, every grain of rice, every drop of honey is a memory of light that once crossed the sky. Without the field, there would be no harvest, no feast, no life at all. In the deep ocean where no sunlight falls, creatures still live, glowing softly in the dark. They glow because of chemistry, because of tiny reactions that move charges and release light. Again, the field is present, for every spark of light is an electromagnetic wave. These waves are shorter than radio, longer than X-rays, just the right length to fall into the band your eyes can see. Life, even in the farthest caves of the sea, uses the field to signal, to lure, to warn. Imagine a jellyfish pulsing with blue light in black water. That glow is a love letter written by electrons moving in fields whispering their presence. Let us step back and look at how the field carries not just energy, but also information. When a bird flies long across the sky, it senses the Earth's magnetic coat. Iron crystals in its body may turn slightly, like small compass needles guiding its path. When a brain cell fires, a brief electric change runs along its length, carrying a signal to another cell. These are not grand waves like radio or light, but tiny local ripples, quiet and quick. The principle is the same, fields shaping and guiding, sharing patterns. Information is a kind of dance upon the stage of the field. Your thoughts right now are shaped by billions of these dances, passing in silence, yet making the voice you hear within your own mind. Wires and circuits mimic this natural song. A simple radio works by shaping a field into patterns that carry voices and music. The air is full of these patterns, though you cannot see or hear them unaided. A radio set is a listener, tuned to catch one pattern among many. When you listen to music through a radio, you are letting the field carry another person's breath and voice into your room. Consider how soft and astonishing that is. A singer opens her mouth in a studio, her voice shapes an electric current. The current shapes a field, the field crosses the air and reaches you. There, a coil and a speaker turn it back into sound. Distance becomes no barrier. The field is the bridge. Think of the bond between fields and time. In every moment, the field is changing. A charge moves here, a current shifts there, and the field responds instantly, reshaping itself across the room, across the sky. But though it changes, it also endures. The sunlight you see now left the sun about 8 minutes ago. The field carried it across the empty dark. When you gaze at stars, you're looking back in time because the field has taken years, sometimes millions of years, to bring their light to you. The past is painted on the canvas of the present by the field. Each photon is an old story, finally arriving. There is a kind of poetry in the way fields create stability out of motion. An electron moves around a nucleus, and its movement is both free and bound. The pull of the electric field keeps it near, while its energy keeps it from falling inward. This balance is delicate, yet it works so well that atoms remain whole for billions of years. Planets move around stars under gravity, but atoms are held by the field, lighter, swifter, no less graceful. The rules are steady, yet they allow endless variety. Water, stone, leaf, bone, each one an arrangement guided by the soft insistence of fields. Now imagine the storm. Clouds gather and grow heavy with charge. Within them, water droplets and ice rub and jostle, moving charges from one place to another. One side of the cloud becomes rich with electrons, another side becomes poor. The difference builds until the field between cloud and ground grows too strong to hold. Then lightning strikes, a grand shout of the electric field seeking balance. The flash lights the world for an instant. The sound rolls away. But what is lightning truly? It is the field saying, balance now. It is the sudden joining of what was apart. In that instant, nitrogen in the air is split and remade, becoming food for soil and plants. Even the violence of lightning feeds life, a gift shaped by the field. Not all fields are seen in such bursts. Some are gentle, steady companions. The compass needle points north without drama. A magnet clings to a refrigerator door day after day. A current runs through a lamp cord as long as you let it. These are quiet stories, background music of the world. Without them, our sense of direction would falter, our homes would be dark, our machines silent. Yet because they are always present, we forget their wonder. They are like the steady beat of your heart, unnoticed until you pause and listen. Your own heart is a beacon of fields. Each beat begins with a small cluster of cells, the pacemaker, which sends a wave of electric chang. Through the heart's walls. The wave tells the muscle to contract, to push blood forward. Doctors can place small sensors on your skin and see these fields as lines on a screen, tracing the rhythm of your life. If the rhythm falters, they can guide it back with a carefully timed pulse, another field speaking to your heart. In hospitals, huge machines use magnetic fields to make images of your body. These images are not paintings, but echoes, responses of your atoms when a great field asks them to sing. The pictures guide healing, a union of nature's threads and human care. Think too of how fields shape the flow of time in your daily life. Each time you flip a switch, you call upon the fields. They turn night into day inside your room. They let you cook, read, work, rest. Each time you hold a phone, fields leap invisibly from towers to your hand. Voices cross mountains, oceans, deserts. The fields do not tire, they do not wear down. They are always ready to carry, always steady in their speed. They are the hidden couriers of your stories and your days. There is also mystery here. Fields are real, measurable, predictable, yet they are also abstract. You cannot scoop them into a jar, you cannot weigh them on a scale. They are not substance, but condition. They are the rules written into the air. They exist not as things, but as relationships between things. That is why they feel both real and ghost-like. When you feel the tug of a magnet, you are feeling a relationship, not a substance. The field is the shape of that relationship spread across space. This is both strange and beautiful, for it means the universe is built not only from matter, but also from connection. Scientists write equations to describe these connections. They call them Maxwell's equations, 4 simple statements that tell how electric and magnetic fields arise and change. These equations are like poems written in symbols, compact yet wide. From them comes the truth of light, the design of circuits, the whisper of radio. From them comes the realization that electricity and magnetism are not separate, but 2 sides of the same thing. To read these equations is to glimpse the spine of the universe's hidden structure, the way threads cross and knot into a single fabric. Now close your eyes and imagine again the empty space between stars. It looks silent, dark, dead, but it is full of fields. Photons race across it, carrying warmth and light. Magnetic swirls drift from stars, carving shapes in the thin gas between worlds. Invisible waves pass through, radio from distant galaxies, cosmic background light from the early moments of the universe. What seems empty is alive with song. The field is the music of space, and you are always, always bathed in it. And closer still, in the very atoms of your body, fields govern every bond. Each thought, each movement of your hand, each beat of your heart is written in the language of fields. You do not need to command them. They simply are steady as breath. They shape your life from within and without in ways that are at once intimate and cosmic. You are not only surrounded by fields, you are a being of fields, sustained and defined by their constant touch. Let us wander now toward the soft close of this story, and let the threads draw together as gently as they first began. Imagine walking in a meadow at dusk, the air still and cool, the light fading into shades of blue and silver. Around you unseen, fields are flowing, weaving their quiet web through the grass, the sky, and the very ground beneath your feet. The Earth's magnetic coat holds steady, guiding birds toward their rest. The last rays of the sun are long electromagnetic waves, spreading their warmth into the soil. Even as darkness deepens, you remain inside the endless fabric of fields, surrounded but never pressed, touched but never grasped. This is the hidden force that shapes not just the world but the feeling of being held within it. In every simple act of life, the field is near. When you reach out to touch another hand, you do not truly let atoms collide. Instead, the electric fields of skin and skin push gently against each other, saying, "Here is the boundary." What you feel as touch is the song of fields declaring closeness without merging. When you look into someone's eyes, the light that left them travels into yours, carrying not only color but meaning, memory, and presence. That light is electromagnetic, a field's voice bridging two lives in a moment of recognition. Even love, in its quiet, physical sense, is carried on the shoulders of invisible waves. And when you rest, when you close your eyes and drift into sleep, fields are still at work. Your heart beats on, each pulse guided by waves of electricity flowing cell to cell. Your brain drifts into patterns, dreams unfolding through networks of fields dancing among neurons. Outside your window, starlight falls, ancient photons completing journeys older than mountains. In the dark, you are held by the very same fabric that guides comets, bends auroras, and carries songs through the air. It is easy to forget that you are never apart from it, that the same laws shaping galaxies are inside your chest and behind your eyes. The story of electromagnetic fields is not only a tale of forces and waves, it is a story of unity. Electricity and magnetism, once thought separate, are now understood as one. Light, heat, radio, X-rays, microwaves, they are all the same family, each wave simply longer or shorter, softer or sharper. In this unity lies a lesson that many appearances can be one truth and many names can be one essence. Just as rivers and rain, snow and mist are all forms of water, so too are the lights and voices of the world all expressions of the field. Think again of the compass. Its needle turns north because of the Earth's deep molten heart where metals churn and flow, weaving a grand magnetic cloak. That cloak protects you from storms of particles streaming from the sun. Without it, the air would be stripped away and seas would vanish. The field holds your sky, your ocean, your breath. And in turn, sunlight pours down, a river of photons that feeds forests, fields, and rivers of wheat. When you eat, you taste the field. When you breathe, you draw in molecules held together by it. When you think, you spark new patterns across neurons tuned by it. To live is to be shaped, nourished, and sustained by fields. There is wonder, too, in the small. The way a moth finds its way to a flame is guided not only by sight, but by the gentle rules of light and direction. The way a crystal of snow takes on its branching shape is shaped by tiny fields between water molecules, each bond a conversation, each arm a frozen whisper. The shimmer of soap bubbles, the rainbow in oil upon a puddle, are simply the field bending and shifting, guiding waves to overlap and sing in color. Beauty and science meet in these patterns, and both are part of the same deep fabric. Now let us imagine standing beneath the northern lights. Above, curtains of green and violet drift and ripple across the stars. They seem alive, dancing to a music you cannot hear. In truth, they are born of fields. Particles from the sun collide with the Earth's magnetic coat, guided along invisible lines until they strike the air. Atoms glow, sending out light, and the sky becomes a living painting. To stand there is to feel awe, but also to realize. This is the field made visible, the hidden force made into color. It is the world's way of letting you glimpse the threads that usually lie unseen. Science may explain the how, but it does not erase the wonder. To know that a rainbow is caused by light bending and splitting in drops of rain is not to lose its magic. To know that your heartbeat is guided by tiny currents is not to lessen its mystery. Instead, it deepens the story, making the hidden visible, letting you hear the deeper music beneath the notes. The world is richer when you see both the poetry and the pattern, the dream and the detail. Electromagnetic fields are both fact and metaphor, the quiet truth of physics, and also a reminder that unseen connections shape everything. And so we arrive at the gentle close of this journey. The invisible threads that hold the world are always with you. They hold atoms together, light your days, carry your voice, and paint your nights. They guard your skies and guide your thoughts. They are not foreign or distant, but intimate, as close as your own breath. The next time you turn on a lamp, watch a sunset, or feel the warmth of a hand, remember the hidden fabric that makes such moments possible. The fields are there, patient and quiet, steady as the stars. They are the whispers of the universe, shaping all things and shaping you too. Rest in this thought: the world is not held together by bolts or chains, but by soft, invisible threads flowing endlessly. You are woven into them, part of the same fabric that stretches through sky and soil, sea and star. And in knowing this, perhaps you can feel less alone, for you are always in touch with everything, carried and held by the hidden force shaping all. Atoms are the smallest notes in the music of matter, yet within them lives a whisper that is both delicate and powerful. Imagine holding a grain of sand between your fingers. It feels solid, unmoving, complete. But inside that grain, countless atoms drift in their ordered places, each one alive with invisible voices. They are not silent. They hum with fields, with light, with charge. They are like lanterns with flames too small for your eyes to see. Each atom carries within it the secret of light, and when it chooses to share, it sends out a whisper across the universe, a photon, a messenger of energy and color. Picture an atom as a tiny world. At its heart rests the nucleus, dense and quiet, packed with protons and neutrons. Around it, electrons hover like mist. They do not move in N. Eat circles, though old drawings often show them that way. Instead, they live in clouds, shimmering regions where they are likely to be found. These clouds are shaped by mathematics, but for your imagination, think of them as soft shells of possibility, shells that can overlap and fold into patterns. It is within these patterns that light is born. For when an electron shifts, when it drops from a higher shell to a lower one, it releases a photon, a whisper of light that slips away at the speed of the cosmos itself. That photon is more than brightness. It is both particle and wave, both a small bead of energy and a ripple spreading outward. It carries color in its stride, depending on how much energy the electron released. A small drop gives red, a larger one gives blue, and the in-between steps paint the spectrum of rainbows. Every flame, every star, every glow in the dark is written in these whispers. The atoms of sodium sing yellow, the atoms of copper hum green. The atoms of hydrogen shout red and violet. Each element has its own song, its own pattern of whispers, as unique as a fingerprint. To look at light is to hear atoms speaking in color. Now let us step into a laboratory of the 19th century. Imagine a scientist heating a salt in a flame. The flame flickers and suddenly it burns with a bright orange glow. Why orange? Why not green or blue? The scientist, curious and patient, places the light through a prism, splitting it into lines. There they appear, sharp bands of color, marks on the spectrum like bars of music on a page. These lines are the atom's signature, its secret language revealed. Each atom whispers not randomly, but with precision. The world began to learn that light is not just a glow, but a code. This code stretches across the universe. When starlight reaches Earth, it carries within it the patterns of the atoms in that star. Astronomers look through telescopes and split that starlight into its lines. They see hydrogen, helium, oxygen, all whispering across the dark. They can tell how hot a star is, how old, even what it is made of, without ever touching it. The whisper of atoms and light crosses light years, steady and faithful, a message in a bottle thrown across the sea of space. The colors of the universe are more than beauty. They are letters in a vast correspondence between atoms and those who can listen. Inside your own body, atoms also whisper in light. Though you cannot see it, the molecules in your cells absorb and release photons constantly. In plants, this exchange is brighter and more visible. Chlorophyll waits within each green leaf, ready to catch the sun's photons. When it does, an electron is nudged to a higher place, holding onto that gift of energy just long enough to begin the chain of life. From this whisper comes food, growth, forests, and breath. Light is the thread that binds the world's living things, pulled from the whispers of atoms that never tire. There is gentleness in this process, but also mystery. How can a particle of light be both wave and dot? How can something be here and there, spread and focused at once? Science describes it with quantum mechanics, equations that predict outcomes with strange precision. Yet for the heart, it is enough to imagine the photon as a traveler, slipping free from its atom and flying outward, free yet never alone, for every other photon does the same. Together they weave the world we see, a fabric of whispers spun from countless threads of light. Think of a candle flame. Its glow is warm, its light soft. Within it, billions of atoms are shedding photons each moment. They do not shed them all the same way. Instead, some atoms give up more energy than others, some less, and so the flame is not one color but many. It flickers with yellows and oranges and faint blues, a choir of whispers blending into harmony. Your eyes catch these photons and turn them into sight. In truth, you do not see the flame itself. You see the whispers it has sent you, the photons released long after the atoms have moved on. To see is always to look at messages from the past. And beyond sight, light touches you in warmth. When sunlight falls on your skin, it is not only brightness but also energy. Photons strike molecules and set them vibrating, and the vibrations are heat. This is why a patch of sunlight feels like a hand upon you, warm and gentle. The whisper of atoms has become a touch. Light is not distant, it is intimate, a conversation between the universe and your own body. Every sunbeam is a word of comfort, every shadow a pause in the dialogue. Consider, too, the stars you see at night. Each one is an ocean of atoms whispering constantly, billions upon billions of photons streaming outward. They leave the star's surface, travel through the dark, and some find their way to your eyes. The star may be gone now, its body collapsed into silence, but its whispers still arrive, faithful and slow, carrying a memory of its existence. W8. And you look up, you are not only gazing at points of light, you are reading ancient letters, written long ago by atoms that lived, burned, and then fell quiet. In all of this, there is a unity that soothes. The whisper of atoms is not separate from the field we explored before. It is part of it, a detail in the larger fabric. The photon is a ripple of the electromagnetic field, a wave that is also a bead. Atoms are the instruments, light is the song. Each whisper is a performance of nature's orchestra, sometimes soft, sometimes blinding, sometimes so faint you cannot see it but only feel its warmth. The music is endless. It plays across the cosmos, across your skin, across the silence between thoughts. To imagine the universe without these whispers is to imagine darkness without end. No colors in the sky, no warmth in the day, no stars at night, no spark in the eye. Light is the language of atoms, and without it there would be no story to tell. But because atoms whisper, the world is alive with glow, with shimmer, with reflection. Even the blackest cave is not truly silent, for within the rock, atoms still exchange their photons, still whispering, though too softly for your eyes. The language of light is everywhere, waiting, speaking, weaving the quiet structure of reality. And as you pause now, think of the light around you. It is not just brightness. It is the breath of atoms, the hum of electrons shifting shells, the long journey of photons freed to wander. You live inside a sea of whispers, each photon carrying news from a distant source, each one a sign that the world is not silent but full of hidden voices. Listen, not with your ears but with your sense of wonder. The atoms are always whispering, and through their light they are always speaking to you. Let us drift further into the quiet realm of light, where whispers become stories and stories become songs. Imagine standing on the shore at night, the sea dark, the stars reflected in the ripples of the water. Each star you see is not just a point of light, but a library, sending out pages of photons that have traveled across time to meet your eyes. These photons are the gentle whispers of atoms, born in the deep cores of stars, carried outward through layers of fire and gas, finally free to cross the void. By the time they touch your gaze, they have journeyed for years, decades, or even longer. Some are older than the mountains beneath your feet, yet they arrive without falter, each one steady in its mission, each one a gift from an atom long ago. Inside the star where the photon began, atoms are restless dancers. Hydrogen fuses into helium in a blazing embrace, releasing energy that ripples outward as new photons. These photons scatter again and again, passing through a crowded hall of atoms, bouncing from one to another until after thousands of years they finally break free. When they do, they carry the memory of that atomic embrace, a piece of energy flung into space as light. Every ray of sunlight that warms your cheek carries such a memory. It is not just warmth, it is the voice of hydrogen whispering across time. And this light is not uniform. It comes in colors, in lines, in codes that reveal the heart of its origin. Astronomers speak of spectra, of sharp lines in the rainbow that reveal which atoms spoke. They split starlight into its song and read it as though it were written text. They can tell which gases are present, how fast a star spins, whether it has planets circling it. All of this knowledge is carried on the whispers of atoms, encoded in photons like delicate ink on fragile pages. The universe has always been speaking. It only needed ears, or rather eyes, patient enough to listen. Consider how these whispers touch the earth. In plants, the whispers become food. A single photon may strike chlorophyll and begin a cascade that ends in sugar, in growth, in the green quiet of forests. Each leaf is a listener, catching whispers and weaving them into life. Without this process, there would be no fields of grain, no orchards of fruit, no breath of oxygen for your lungs. Every meal you eat is a chain of whispers. Every breath you take a reminder of the dialogue between atoms and light. You are not only nourished by the earth, but by the starlight that feeds it. Now think of your own eyes. They are also listeners, tuned to the narrow band of light we call visible. Within your retina are tiny cells, rods and cones, each one a sentinel waiting for photons. When a photon arrives, it is caught by a molecule that changes shape in response. That shape change sets off a small current, an electrical ripple that runs along your nerve to the brain. There, countless other atoms and fields work together to translate the signal into sight. What you see is not the photon itself, but the story it brought, the color of a flower, the smile of a friend, the glow of the moon. Your eyes are translators of whispers, turning them into visions. Not all wise. Spurs of atoms can be seen. Beyond the red lies infrared, warmth that you feel on your skin but cannot see with your eyes. Beyond the violet lies ultraviolet, too sharp for your vision, though bees and butterflies can read its patterns upon flowers. Farther still lie X-rays, born when atoms are struck and stripped, when their innermost electrons tumble. These whispers can pass through flesh and bone, letting doctors see within you. Each kind of whisper carries a different story, but all are photons. All are the same gentle messengers of the electromagnetic field. The visible is only a fraction of the conversation. The rest continues unseen, yet always present. Let us pause to think of fireflies. On warm nights they rise and flicker, each glow a message. Inside the insect, small molecules release light in a chemical dance. Electrons rise and fall, photons are freed, and the firefly whispers across the grass. To you it looks like beauty, but to the firefly it is language, a signal to others of its kind. Light, born in atoms, becomes communication, and in your own world the same is true. The screens you hold, the lamps in your room, the signals that stream across cities, all are whispers of atoms reshaped by human hands into patterns of meaning. The field has become your partner in storytelling. In the vastness of space, there are still deeper whispers. When atoms fall apart or collide at incredible speeds, they release high-energy photons called gamma rays. These are the fiercest whispers, sharp as blades, carrying immense power. They burst from collapsing stars, from the hearts of galaxies where black holes feed. Though you cannot see them with your eyes, instruments reveal their presence, sudden flashes from billions of light years away. They remind us that the atom's whisper can sometimes rise into a shout, a thunderous release of energy that echoes across the cosmos. Yet even in their fierceness, they are still photons, still part of the same family, still children of atoms. What makes all of this possible is the quantum nature of atoms themselves. Electrons do not simply slide smoothly from one level to another. They leap, they jump, they vanish from one shell and appear in another, releasing or absorbing photons in the process. This is why the whisper of atoms has precision. Only certain energies are possible, only certain colors allowed. It is as though each atom has a set of notes it can play, no more, no less. And together, all atoms in the universe form the grand orchestra of light. The stars are symphonies, the galaxies are choirs, and your own body, alive with atoms, hums quietly in the background. It is strange to think that matter, so solid to your hand, is made mostly of space. Electrons orbit far from the nucleus, leaving emptiness between. What holds it all together are fields, and what carries its communication is light. Without photons, atoms would be mute, unable to share their energy, unable to bond, unable to warm or glow. With photons, they sing. With photons, they dance. With photons, they create not just the structures of matter, but also the experience of beauty. Sunsets, rainbows, glowing embers, morning skies. All of this arises because electrons shift and atoms whisper. Now imagine yourself again on that night shore, stars bright above, waves dark below. You are surrounded by whispers. The light of the stars falls upon the sea, making it shine. The glow of the moon lays silver paths across the waves. Even the darkness is not silent, for photons of infrared still flow unseen but felt. Your eyes, your skin, your heart are all listeners. You are part of the great dialogue, not separate but woven in. To live is to be immersed in light, to be written upon by the whispers of atoms. And so the story deepens. Light is not only a tool, not only energy, but a bond. It binds stars to eyes, leaves to lungs, fireflies to nights. It connects the smallest atom to the largest galaxy. In its quiet, persistent way, it holds the cosmos in conversation. To know this is not to strip away the magic, but to find greater wonder, to realize that every photon, every whisper is a thread in the endless fabric of existence, carrying meaning across the silence of space and time. Let us wander now toward the closing of this story, where the whispers of atoms soften into a lullaby for the universe itself. Imagine a single photon just born from the fall of an electron. It slips free with no weight, no rest, only speed. It does not hesitate or turn back. It races outward at light's steady pace, carrying its small gift of energy. That gift may warm a leaf, may glint upon water, may strike the back of your eye and spark a memory. In this way, every photon is a messenger of intimacy, a bridge between matter and mind, between the hidden dance of electrons and the living gaze that sees the world. Consider the rainbow. Rain falls, sunlight enters each droplet, bends and splits into colors. The droplet does not. In beauty, it only follows the rules of light. Yet from countless drops comes an arch of color, soft and immense. Each hue is the voice of atoms whispering at different energies, each band a note in the spectrum's song. When you stand before it, you are not simply looking at water and sunlight. You are watching the whispers of countless atoms overlap, combine, and paint the sky. The rainbow is nature's poem, written in the alphabet of photons. The whispers of atoms also guide us through darkness. Long ago, sailors looked to the stars for direction, reading the heavens as maps. They did not know the details of spectra, of photons and energy levels, but they trusted the constancy of starlight. Each twinkle was a signal from atoms burning far away, and those signals led ships across oceans. Today, astronomers do the same, but with deeper understanding. They measure the shifts in starlight and discover planets circling suns. They study faint galaxies and hear the whispers of hydrogen stretched thin across the cosmos. Navigation, exploration, discovery all rest upon the steady language of light. And there is light older than stars themselves. The universe began in a hot burst where matter and energy were one. As it expanded and cooled, atoms formed for the first time. Electrons settled into their places around nuclei, and in doing so they released a flood of photons. Those photons have been traveling ever since, stretched into microwaves by the swelling of space. Today, sensitive instruments can still hear them, the cosmic background glow, the oldest whisper of all. It is the universe's first memory, written in light, carrying the mark of atoms being born. To listen to it is to hear the dawn of everything. Your own body is full of these whispers, though you rarely notice them. Infrared light streams softly from your skin, a glow of warmth invisible to your eyes. Every molecule inside you is in motion, vibrating and twisting, and those motions release tiny photons. You are quite literally shining in the dark, though only special instruments can see it. Life itself is luminous in ways we cannot always perceive. To live is to whisper back into the universe, a constant exchange of light. In the silence of the night sky, every star is also a teacher. They tell us what matter is made of, how it behaves, how it changes. By reading the whispers of atoms, scientists discovered helium before it was found on Earth, saw the fingerprints of oxygen and iron, understood the life cycles of stars. They realized that the same atoms in distant suns are the ones in your bones. The calcium in your teeth, the iron in your blood, the oxygen in your lungs, all were forged in stars, then scattered as whispers of light carried news of their birth. You are not only connected to the stars, you are built from them. Their atoms are your atoms. Their whispers are your whispers. Think of a quiet fire at night. Its glow is steady, its warmth comforting. Yet what you see is the constant release of photons from excited atoms. Each spark that leaps upward is a chorus of electrons falling and light being freed. The fire feels alive because it is alive with whispers. Even in the smallest flame, the rules of the universe play out with patience and grace. To sit by a fire is to sit within the language of atoms, to bathe in their stories of light and energy. And when you look at another person, light carries more than color and shape. Photons reflect from skin, from eyes, from hair. They travel into your eyes and become sight. In that instant, you are touched not by the person directly, but by the whispers of atoms reflecting outward. Every glance, every moment of seeing is mediated by light, by the patient travel of photons between you and the world. Even connection itself, the meeting of eyes, is carried by this language of atoms. Now imagine the silence after rain, when the world glistens and every surface shines. That shine is nothing more than photons bouncing, shifting, scattering in countless directions. Yet the effect is beauty, a world remade in brightness. Atoms do not plan this, yet they give it freely. The gift of light is woven into their very being. The world's beauty is the result of atoms doing what they must do, releasing whispers that fill the air with color and warmth. From this necessity comes grace. The quiet truth is that atoms cannot keep their energy forever. They must release, they must share. And so they whisper again and again in photons that weave the world together. Without this, there would be no warmth, no sight, no life. But with it, there is everything: the blush of dawn, the shimmer of oceans, the glow of embers, the sparkle of eyes. The whispers of atoms become the great chorus of existence, surrounding you at every moment, filling every shadow with hidden voices. And so we close this story with gentle reflection. Light is not only a tool, not only a wave or a particle, but a constant act of giving. Atoms whisper their energy into the universe, and in doing so, they create the possibility of life, beauty, and awareness. You are always immersed in these whispers. They shine on you from the stars, they rise from within your own body, they carry the memory of beginnings older than time. To rest in this knowledge is to feel both small and vast, fragile and infinite. You are part of the quiet song of atoms and light, and their whispers will continue long after you have drifted into sleep. Life moves with purpose, yet often that purpose is guided by forces too subtle for us to notice. Imagine a bird high in the sky, wings stretched wide, moving not just with the wind but with an invisible compass hidden within its body. It knows where to go, though no road is marked, no signpost stands, no star is visible in daylight. Its journey is written instead in fields, in the steady lines of the Earth's magnetism. The compass of living things is quiet, woven into feathers, shells, and cells, shaping migrations, guiding paths, holding life in tune with the planet. The Earth itself is the source of this grand guide. Deep below the crust, molten iron churns and flows, a slow ocean of metal moving with heat. This restless motion generates the magnetic field, a cloak that stretches far into space. The field bends the paths of charged particles from the sun, shielding the air you breathe, shaping auroras that shimmer at the poles. But just as important, it bends the lives of animals who sense it, who trust it, who ride its steady north and south. The Earth whispers direction, and creatures listen. Think of the Arctic tern, a bird small and light, yet capable of flying from one end of the world to the other. It moves from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back again, tracing the length of the globe with precision. It does not use maps or machines. It follows currents of air, yes, but also the magnetic field. Inside its body are tiny structures, perhaps crystals of magnetite, iron-bearing minerals that turn gently in response to the field. These crystals act like tiny needles, telling the bird where north lies, where south drifts. Its wings move with certainty because its body hears the quiet pull of the planet. Sea turtles do the same. When hatchlings break from their sandy nests and scramble toward the waves, they begin journeys that will take them across entire oceans. Decades later, grown and strong, they return to the very beach where they began. How can they find it again after so much time and distance? Scientists believe their compass is tuned not only to north and south, but also to the subtle variations of the Earth's field, tiny differences in strength and angle that form a map written across the seas. The turtles remember this magnetic address, as though the Earth itself had given them a homeward note carried in their bones. Even the smallest creatures listen. Bacteria drifting in water sometimes align themselves along magnetic fields, swimming northward or southward. Their survival depends on this simple alignment, moving them toward the oxygen levels they need. Monarch butterflies, delicate as paper, migrate for thousands of miles, guided by both sunlight and magnetism, finding their way to forests they have never seen before. Salmon follow rivers back to their birthplaces, their journey shaped not only by scent but also by the Earth's quiet directions. In each case, life is not alone in its path. It is guided, steadied, held by the compass of the Earth. And what of humans? Do we too have traces of this compass? Some scientists suggest that we might. Within the tissues of our sinuses, fragments of magnetite have been found. Whether they guide us or lie dormant is still uncertain. Some people speak of feeling oriented, of sensing direction even without sight of the sun or stars. Others lose this sense in crowded cities where steel and wires distort the field. Perhaps the compass is ancient in us, a forgotten sense that once helped our ancestors cross plains and forests, now muffled by other tools but still present in quiet ways. The field does more than guide. It weaves itself into life's very chemistry. In plants, certain reactions are influenced by the presence of magnetic fields, altering how they grow, how they turn their leaves toward light. In animals, proteins called cryptochromes, sensitive to blue light, may also feel the pull of the Earth's magnetism. These proteins exist in the eyes of birds, perhaps letting them see the field itself as a faint glow or pattern across the sky. Imagine looking upward and not only seeing clouds and sunlight, but also a ghostly compass painted across the heavens, visible only to those whose eyes are tuned to the field. When you think of migration, think of more than movement. It is a thread woven into the balance of ecosystems. Birds bring seeds from one land to another. Whales stir nutrients as they move between feeding and breeding grounds. Turtles shape bee. Chess simply by returning, their nests changing the sand. All of these journeys depend on navigation, and much of that navigation depends on the magnetic compass. The field is not only a shield or a silent force, it is a guide that shapes the very pattern of life on Earth. Yet this compass is fragile. The Earth's magnetic field drifts and shifts over time. North is not always where it once was. Sometimes the field weakens, sometimes it flips entirely, poles reversing. For creatures that rely on its constancy, this must be both challenge and test, and yet life endures, adapting, listening anew. The compass may waver, but the bond between Earth and its living passengers remains strong, like the trust between traveler and road, between wanderer and horizon. Think again of the bird in the sky. It does not know the science of magnetism. It does not solve equations of iron and motion, it simply listens. It trusts the quiet pull beneath its wings. That trust has carried its kind for thousands of generations, across oceans, across storms, across time itself. The compass of living things is not just about direction, it is about belonging. To move with the field is to be connected to the Earth, to be in conversation with it, to let it whisper the way home. And so in this beginning of the story, we see that magnetism is not an abstract force, not a distant concept. It is a thread tied to the beating wings of birds, to the long swim of turtles, to the soft glow of butterflies. It is written into proteins and crystals, into instincts and memories. It shapes migrations that shape ecosystems, and in turn, it shapes the world you live in. The compass of living things is not only inside them, it is everywhere, a gift from the earth itself, steady and unseen, but always guiding, always holding the paths of life. Let us drift deeper into this quiet guidance, where the compass of living things becomes more than instinct and enters the realm of wonder. Imagine a night sky spread wide, the stars like tiny fires, the air cool and still. To you, direction might seem uncertain without a map or a clock, but to the bird flying in that same sky there is no doubt. Its inner compass points steady, a thread of certainty woven through its body. It feels the earth beneath it, not by sight or sound, but by the invisible touch of the magnetic field. The bird does not think of magnetite or cryptochromes. It simply follows the pull, a trust as natural as breathing. Inside the bird's eye, scientists believe there may be proteins called cryptochromes, sensitive not just to light but to magnetism itself. When photons strike these proteins, electrons shift, forming pairs that are influenced by the Earth's field. The result may be a pattern, faint and ghostly, painted across the bird's vision, a sense of north and south woven into the sky itself. Imagine seeing not only clouds and colors, but also a subtle glow that tells you which way to turn. This vision would not distract but guide, a silent layer of truth beneath ordinary sight. To the bird, the compass is not a tool, but part of perception, as real as light and shadow. Sea turtles, too, carry this sense. They can feel differences in the strength and angle of the magnetic field, like notes in a song that shifts from place to place. Each beach has its own magnetic signature, a unique combination of strength and tilt. A hatchling, barely minutes old, may imprint this signature as it scuttles toward the waves. Decades later, after crossing entire oceans, the grown turtle returns to that same beach, guided by the memory of a magnetic whisper. The ocean may change, the currents may shift, but the field remains a quiet map, a promise that home is still there. Whales journey across seas as well, their paths vast and patient. Some scientists believe they too may sense the field, using it to navigate the blue depths where landmarks vanish. When whales beach themselves in strange numbers, some wonder if magnetic storms disturb their compass, leading them astray. The field is not constant. It breathes with the sun, with solar winds, with storms of charged particles. For most creatures, these changes are gentle and unnoticed, but sometimes the song of the compass falters. Still, the whales follow, trusting the Earth's lines as faithfully as birds in the air. Even the tiniest beings listen. Certain bacteria, called magnetotactic bacteria, contain chains of magnetite crystals within them. These crystals act like needles, aligning with the Earth's field and guiding the bacteria toward the right depths of water, where oxygen is just enough for them to thrive. To imagine life at such a scale, aligning with forces as grand as planetary fields, is to realize that magnetism is not only a tool for great migrations, but also a thread that shapes existence at its smallest scales. From microbes to whales, from butterflies to birds, the compass is universal. Humans, too, may still carry fragments of this S. Some experiments suggest that people can unconsciously detect changes in magnetic fields, though the awareness is subtle and hidden beneath layers of thought. Perhaps long ago, when our ancestors walked open plains and dark forests, this sense was sharper, helping them find their way. Today, with compasses and satellites, the skill may be quieted, but the fragments remain. Deep inside, perhaps you still carry a faint listening, a soft awareness of the Earth's lines beneath your feet. The Earth's compass is not fixed forever. Its magnetic poles wander. Over centuries, they drift and sometimes they reverse. North becomes south and south becomes north. During these times, the field weakens, changes, reshapes itself. What happens to the creatures who depend on it? Some may falter, yet most endure. The compass is more than a single direction. It is part of a web of senses. Animals listen to stars, to scents, to landmarks, to winds, weaving all of it together. The magnetic field may shift, but life adapts, holding steady to the rhythm of Earth. In this deep weaving, the compass also becomes a teacher of patience. Migration is not swift or careless. It is long, steady, often dangerous. Yet animals return again and again, carried by trust in the field. Monarch butterflies travel thousands of miles across generations, their journey too long for any single life. They breed along the way, and only after several generations do their descendants reach the resting forests of Mexico. How do they know the path? They combine cues of sun and stars, scents and seasons, but the Earth's field plays its part, a constant thread holding the pattern together. Without it, the journey might unravel. With it, the cycle continues, as steady as the seasons. Magnetism also plays within the cycles of plants. Though plants do not migrate, their growth can be subtly shaped by magnetic fields. Roots may grow straighter, leaves may spread wider when exposed to gentle fields. The mechanism is still a mystery, but the effect is there, a sign that even the silent, rooted forms of life are listening. The compass of living things is not always about direction. Sometimes it is about balance, about growth tuned to unseen forces. When we step back, we see that the compass is more than a biological trick. It is a bond between Earth and its children. It is the planet's way of guiding, of holding, of saying, here is the way home. Birds trust it, turtles remember it, bacteria depend on it. It is not separate from life, but a partner in life, as steady as breath, as wide as the horizon. The compass does not shout, it whispers. And in listening to it, creatures have crossed oceans, filled forests, circled the globe. Now imagine yourself as one of them. Picture walking through a field at night, no stars above, no road before you. Yet within you there is a quiet sense, a pull toward north, a comfort in knowing which way is which. You do not need to see it, you only need to trust it. This is the compass of living things, a sense that ties you to the earth, that holds you in place even when all else is dark. It is more than a direction. It is a reminder that you belong, that the world is always whispering to you, if only you choose to listen. Let us follow the compass of living things toward its gentle close, where direction becomes more than navigation, and magnetism becomes more than a tool. Picture again the bird aloft in the sky, its wings stretched against the wind, its path steady. It does not ask where to go, it simply knows. The earth holds it, the field guides it, and the sky opens wide before it. This trust is quiet but profound. The compass is not just about reaching a destination. It is about being connected to something greater, to the steady pulse of the planet itself. When you think of migration, you might imagine movement alone. But migration is also memory, written into bodies not through words but through senses. A salmon remembers its river not only by the scent of water but by the pull of the earth beneath it. A turtle remembers its beach not by sight but by the magnetic lines that cradle it across decades. These memories are not conscious in the way you recall a song or a name. They are deeper, older, stored in the very chemistry of life. The compass of living things is memory written in magnetism, direction woven into the very fabric of being. And what is memory if not a way of holding connection through time? The Earth's field has been present since life began. Ancient bacteria aligned themselves with it, and still today their descendants do the same. Birds, butterflies, whales, and humans have all carried fragments of this bond. It is a continuity, a thread linking past to present. The compass does not end when one journey is complete. It begins again with the next generation, a cycle as endless as the turning of the earth itself. In this way, the compass is not only a guide of space, but a guide of time. The magnet. Eichfield is not static, it wanders and shifts. Sometimes it weakens, sometimes it reverses. And yet life endures through these changes. Creatures adapt, adjust, combine other senses with the compass until the world feels steady again. This resilience is part of the story. The compass is not infallible, but it is constant enough to be trusted. It shows that life does not need perfection to find its way. It only needs patience, adaptability, and the quiet strength to listen. In this lesson, the compass becomes more than a biological sense. It becomes a metaphor for living itself. Imagine yourself once more without maps, without machines, without signs. You stand in a forest, the trees tall and the stars hidden, yet you feel something steady beneath your feet, a faint pull that says, this is north, this is south. You cannot explain it, but it gives you peace. You are not lost, for the earth itself is holding you. In such moments, you realize that the compass of living things is not only for creatures with wings or fins. It is for all who belong to the earth, for all who are woven into its fabric. The sense of direction is also a sense of belonging. The auroras are reminders of this bond. They appear when the Earth's magnetic cloak dances with the winds of the sun. Particles stream downward, guided by magnetic lines, until they strike the air and make it glow. Green, violet, crimson, the colors ripple across the sky like veils. For birds beneath them, the auroras are not decoration but pathways, lines of direction. For humans, they are a vision of the field made visible, a chance to see the compass painted in light. In that glow, science and wonder meet. The auroras remind you that the invisible is always present, always shaping, always guiding. In modern life, you may think you no longer need the compass of Earth. Satellites tell you where to walk, maps show you where to drive, signals connect you across continents. Yet beneath these tools, the Earth still holds its field steady and quiet. It still whispers to creatures that depend on it. And even as technology grows, your own body may still carry traces of the sense, a reminder that you are not separate from the natural compass, but part of its long story. To remember this is to remember humility, to see that the world itself is always more than what you can measure or control. There is poetry in knowing that the same force guiding a butterfly across meadows also guided your ancestors across forests. The same field that steadies a whale in the ocean steadies the bird above your head. It is not a force given to one species but shared across all. The compass of living things is universal, a common gift of the planet. It is an invisible thread connecting all life to the same source. In this way, it is both a science and a song, both a tool and a comfort. To know the compass is to know you are never truly alone on the earth, for it is always with you. And so we close this journey with gentle reflection. The compass of living things is not only a matter of iron crystals or proteins in the eye. It is the way Earth itself reaches into life, guiding, steadying, reminding. It is the trust of a bird in the sky, the memory of a turtle in the sea, the path of a butterfly in the wind. It is the Earth's gift to its children, unseen but constant, fragile yet enduring. To walk, to fly, to swim with the compass is to move with the planet's own rhythm, to be in harmony with its quiet voice. Rest in this thought: the Earth is always guiding. Its field stretches around you, through you, beneath your feet and above your head. You belong to it and it belongs to you. The compass is not only for travel. It is for life itself, a reminder that you are always held, always connected, always moving within the steady embrace of the world. There is a dance that unfolds in silence, written not in steps but in currents of air and fire. It begins in the swirl of a storm, in the rising heat of oceans, in the shifting breath of the atmosphere. And it continues far beyond, in the vastness of stars, in the explosions that seed galaxies, in the calm pulse of the cosmos itself. This dance is silent to your ears, yet it is not still. It is the silent dance of storms and stars, a rhythm of energy and motion that binds weather to the heavens, clouds to galaxies, lightning to starlight. Picture a summer sky. The air is heavy, warm, filled with moisture rising from the sea. As the sun heats the surface, air rises higher, cooling, condensing into towering clouds. From below they look soft and white, but inside they are restless, boiling, charged. Drops of water collide, ice crystals form, currents pull upward and downward. Within this hidden ballet, charges separate. Some regions of the cloud become rich in electrons, others are left with emptiness. The imbalance grows until the air itself can no longer hold it. Then in a flash, lightning leaps, a sudden release of the field, a voice of Een. RGY across the sky. Thunder follows, rolling like a drumbeat after the dance step has been made. Yet lightning is not only sound and flash, it is also chemistry. When the bolt strikes, it splits nitrogen molecules in the air, letting them bind with oxygen, forming nutrients that fall back to Earth with the rain. In this way, the storm feeds the soil, and the soil feeds the plants, and the plants feed you. The violent dance of lightning is also a gift of growth, a reminder that even in chaos, the world is giving, shaping, sustaining. The storm is not only destruction, but also creation, a link in the endless cycle of life. Now lift your gaze from storms to stars. In the heart of a star, the same dance of energy unfolds, though on scales beyond imagining. Hydrogen atoms, pressed and heated, merge into helium. The fusion releases light and heat, a steady outpouring of photons that journey outward, scattering until they escape into space. The star shines because of this dance, this endless balancing of pressure and gravity, of fusion and radiation. Like a storm, a star is both turbulent and graceful, both fierce and delicate. The sun above you, steady and warm, is a constant storm of fusion, a cosmic fire that has burned for billions of years. And just as storms on Earth bring lightning, stars bring their own bursts of brilliance. Sometimes they flare, releasing sudden storms of energy into space. At other times, when their fuel is gone, they collapse and explode in supernovae, scattering their atoms into the galaxy. From these explosions come the elements of life, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs. The silent dance of stars is not only light, but also inheritance. You are the child of ancient storms, born from the quiet rhythms of long-dead suns. Consider the auroras at Earth's poles. They are where storms of space meet the storms of Earth. Particles streaming from the sun ride along the magnetic field, drawn toward the poles where they strike the upper air. Atoms glow in response, painting the sky with ribbons of green and violet. This light is the Earth's own cosmic storm, a dance of particles and fields, of energy carried from the sun to your skies. When you watch them, you are watching the meeting of worlds, the storm of a star expressed in the air of your planet, the great silent dance made visible. Weather and cosmos are not separate, but reflections of one another. The storm builds from imbalance, from motion, from the constant reaching for equilibrium. The star shines for the same reason, burning to balance the gravity that would otherwise collapse it. Energy moves, matter shifts, and from this restlessness comes beauty. The clouds that tower above your head and the galaxies that swirl above your night sky are both patterns in the same dance, shaped by the same rules of motion and energy. To see them as separate is easy. To see them as kin is deeper, a recognition that storms and stars are different verses in the same song. And this song is never-ending. The sea rises, clouds form, lightning flashes, rain falls. The sun burns, photons stream, planets orbit, galaxies spin. Each is a dance within a dance, cycles turning within greater cycles, all bound together by the quiet rules of physics. You live within these cycles, carried by storms, lit by stars, made from their elements, sustained by their gifts. Even your breath is part of this rhythm, oxygen born in stars, delivered by storms, taken into your lungs, released back into the air. To breathe is to join the silent dance, to be a partner in the movement of storms and stars. Now imagine lying on your back in a field after rain. The clouds are clearing and the first stars appear. You hear only crickets, only the soft dripping of water from leaves. Yet above you, both storms and stars continue their dance. The last lightning may flicker on the horizon. The farthest galaxies may shine with light older than life itself. In that moment, you are held by both the immediate restless energy of Earth's storms and the ancient steady glow of the cosmos. They are not in conflict. They are one story, one rhythm, one dance that stretches from the soil to the stars. Let us drift deeper into the heart of the dance, where storms and stars reveal their kinship more clearly. Imagine once more the thundercloud rising, its crown billowing into the blue. Inside, droplets and ice crystals swirl in restless currents, colliding, parting, colliding again. Each collision moves charges, separating electrons from protons, building invisible tension. The cloud becomes layered with power, negative charge below, positive charge above. The air between ground and sky grows strained, until the invisible thread of balance snaps and lightning is born. The bolt cracks across the sky, illuminating the world in a brief white brilliance. It is a small storm compared to the fury of the stars, yet the principle is the same, energy moving to raise. Toward equilibrium, the dance of imbalance seeking harmony. When you feel the roll of thunder afterward, you are hearing air itself shaken by that release. The channel of lightning heats so fast that it expands with violence, pushing air outward in a shock wave. The boom is the voice of the storm, a reminder that what was invisible is now made real. Yet behind the drama lies a constant truth. Storms are engines of renewal. They stir the air, distribute moisture, and enrich the soil. They seem fierce, yet they are caretakers, balancing Earth's atmosphere in ways both harsh and gentle. Without storms, the skies would stagnate, the rains would falter, and life would wither. In the silent dance of storms, there is discipline, a rhythm that sustains the living world. Now carry your mind outward to the restless storms of planets. Jupiter, giant of the solar system, bears a storm so large it could swallow Earth whole, the Great Red Spot, a swirling hurricane that has raged for centuries. Saturn carries bands of storms that circle endlessly. Neptune hosts winds faster than any on Earth. These planetary tempests are kin to the storms of your own skies, though grander, older, more enduring. They too are shaped by heat rising, by rotation, by imbalance seeking balance. And in their churning, they remind you that storms are not only earthly, they are universal, born wherever energy and motion meet. To study them is to see Earth as part of a greater family of restless worlds. The stars, too, are full of storms. Their surfaces are oceans of plasma, restless and boiling. Sunspots bloom as dark blemishes where magnetic fields twist and knot. Solar flares erupt like lightning bolts across thousands of miles, sending waves of charged particles streaming into space. Coronal mass ejections hurl great clouds of plasma outward, storms on scales beyond comprehension. When these reach Earth, they rattle the magnetic field, disrupt signals, and paint the sky with auroras. The solar storm and the earthly storm are cousins, both born of imbalance, both releasing their energy in sudden brilliance. When you look at the sun, remember it is not steady fire, but a storming heart, fierce and alive. And just as storms of weather give rise to lightning, storms of stars give rise to light itself. At the core, fusion is a dance of pressure and release. Gravity pulls inward, crushing hydrogen so tightly that atoms merge. The fusion releases photons, each a parcel of light. These photons scatter for thousands of years before reaching the surface, then stream outward into space. The sun's calm glow is, at heart, the balanced result of storming fusion. If gravity were stronger, collapse would win. If fusion were stronger, the star would burst apart. Instead, they balance, a silent equilibrium, a storm held steady for billions of years. But stars do not last forever. When their fuel is gone, they falter. Some shrink into white dwarfs, small and faint, slowly cooling embers. Others collapse and explode, supernovae that outshine entire galaxies for a brief time. In that explosion, new elements are forged, heavy metals born in the furnace of death. Gold, silver, uranium, these treasures exist because stars died in storms of unimaginable scale. Even the iron in your blood was created this way, scattered by stellar winds into clouds that later formed planets. The silent dance of storms and stars is not only about energy, it is about creation, destruction, renewal. It is the cycle of life written on cosmic scales. Consider black holes, where storms reach their final, quietest expression. Here, gravity wins completely, pulling everything inward. Around the black hole, matter spirals, heating, glowing, releasing torrents of X-rays. These accretion disks are storms of falling matter, energy released as particles whip around at near the speed of light. The dance is fierce, yet silent, its song carried not by sound but by light and gravity waves. Even in such extremes, the pattern remains: imbalance, motion, release. The same rules that shape a storm cloud in your sky shape the furious storms at the edge of galaxies. And what of galaxies themselves? They swirl like hurricanes across millions of light years. Spirals of stars wind outward like arms of cloud. Gravity pulls, rotation shapes, dark matter steadies. The galaxy is a storm of stars, held in place by balance, moving slowly but endlessly. Within it, stars are born in nebulae, fiery nurseries lit by the glow of young suns. They die in supernovae, scattering matter for new stars. The galaxy is not static. It is a restless storm, a grand spiral in the silent dance of the cosmos. Yet for all their scale, storms and stars share a quiet kinship with you. The lightning that cracks across the sky and the light that glows from a star are both electromagnetic. They are both movements of charges, of fields, of energy seeking balance. The warmth you feel from sunlight and the warmth you feel after lightning. Strike are siblings, different expressions of the same field. In this kinship lies a lesson. The universe does not separate the small from the vast, the fleeting from the ancient. All follow the same rules, all join the same dance. Imagine standing at the edge of a storm, watching clouds rise and split with lightning. Then imagine standing beneath the Milky Way, stars spread like dust across the night. In both, you see the same pattern, the same restlessness, the same beauty. The storm and the star are not apart. They are both verses of the same poem, written in energy, spoken in silence, remembered in light. Now let us follow the dance toward its quiet resolution, where storms come and stars fade, and yet the rhythm endures. Imagine the sky after rain. The thunder has rolled away, the lightning has ceased, and the air feels washed and new. Drops cling to leaves, shining with the last rays of the sun. What felt fierce only moments ago now feels gentle, almost tender. The storm has not ended life, it has renewed it. The soil is nourished, the plants revived, the rivers replenished. In its passing, the storm leaves balance. Its fury was not without purpose. Its silence afterward is not emptiness but peace. So too with stars. When they exhaust their fuel, they do not simply vanish. They transform. Small stars like the sun shed their outer layers, creating nebulae, clouds of color and light, delicate veils stretched across the heavens. At their centers remain white dwarfs, small glowing embers that slowly cool. Larger stars die in supernovae, scattering elements across space, seeding new systems, new worlds. Even in their deaths, stars are givers, passing their substance into the universe so that new life can form. The storm of their existence resolves into stillness, but that stillness is not the end. It is a beginning for others. Consider how the water cycle mirrors this truth. Storms rise, rain falls, rivers flow, seas gather, and then the sun lifts water once again. The pattern is endless. Energy is never lost, only transformed, moving from heat to motion, from light to growth, from storm to calm. The same law holds for stars. Fusion turns matter into light, supernovae scatter elements into dust, dust gathers into new suns. Energy flows, matter cycles, balance returns. The silent dance continues, never ceasing, always transforming. To witness it is to see the poetry of renewal written across scales both small and infinite. Auroras are perhaps the most tender expression of this pattern. They appear when storms from the sun meet the shield of earth. Instead of destruction, they create beauty, painting the sky with shifting veils of light. Green waves ripple, violet edges curl, crimson arcs flare. They are silent, but their silence is not empty. It is full of movement, of atoms excited, of photons released. In watching them, you see the meeting of storm and star, the joining of earth and sun in a shared dance. It is a reminder that even the fiercest energies can become gentle. Even the most powerful forces can create wonder. And in your own life, storms too can leave calm. You may walk through days of unrest, through moments of imbalance and energy too strong to hold. Yet afterward comes renewal, clarity, peace. Just as the soil is enriched by rain, so are you strengthened by challenge. Just as stars give their substance in their ending, so do you give through your transformations, passing on energy, memory, love. The storms within you, like those in the sky, are not separate from the rhythm of the universe. They are part of the same dance, fierce but purposeful, fleeting but meaningful. Look up again at the night sky. The stars above you seem fixed, eternal, but each is in motion, each part of a cycle. Some are being born in glowing nebulae, others are burning steadily, and some have already ended, their light only now reaching you. You see them all at once, beginnings and endings painted together, storms and calm entwined. The silence of the night is filled with their stories. It is not emptiness, but a chorus of light. To gaze at the stars is to listen to the universe's quiet song of balance, a song sung in storms and resolved in peace. And think too of your place in this. The oxygen you breathe was formed in stars, carried here by winds, sustained by storms. The iron in your blood was forged in supernovae scattered across galaxies before settling on Earth. The water you drink has cycled through storms for billions of years. Every part of you is shaped by the dance of storms and stars, by energy that moved, balanced, transformed. You are not outside the rhythm, you are part of it. To live is to join the dance, to be carried by its steps, to embody its flow. Even when storms rage and stars collapse, there is no true ending. There is only change, only transformation into another form of the dance. Silence is not absence, but transition. After the storm, the soil breathes. After the star, new whir. LDS form, after imbalance, balance returns. The universe does not stop moving, and neither do you. You are always within its motion, always part of its flow, always bound to its rhythm. In this truth lies comfort. You cannot fall out of the dance, for you are the dance itself. So let this story close as it began, in silence, but not in stillness. The silent dance of storms and stars continues around you, above you, within you. It shapes the weather, lights the sky, feeds the soil, forges the elements, and carries your breath. It is fierce yet gentle. It is violent yet renewing. It is endless yet always present in each moment. Rest now in its rhythm. You are safe within its steps. You are part of its song. And like the storms that end in rain, like the stars that end in light, you too are both fleeting and eternal, both fragile and vast, both storm and star. There is a current that moves within you, soft and hidden, as constant as breath. It is not the rush of blood in your veins, nor the rise and fall of your lungs. It is electricity, quiet and delicate, flowing through the cells of your brain and body. This electricity does not spark like lightning, though it is born of the same laws. Instead, it whispers in patterns, carrying thought, memory, and dream. The electricity that dreams within us is the same force that shapes storms and stars, yet here it becomes intimate, shaping the inner landscapes of mind and self. Imagine a single neuron, one of billions within your brain. It is small, branching like a tree, its roots and limbs reaching toward other neurons. When it rests, there is a difference of charge across its membrane, the inside more negative, the outside more positive. This separation is potential, like a storm cloud waiting to release lightning. And when a signal arrives, the balance shifts. Gates in the membrane open, ions rush in and out, and the charge flips. A wave of electricity travels down the neuron, swift and precise. At its end, the signal jumps a tiny gap to another neuron, carried by chemicals that spread the message onward. From this simple exchange arises thought itself. But thought is not the only gift of this current. Memory, too, is written in patterns of electricity. When neurons fire together often, their connections strengthen like paths worn smooth by repeated steps. A sound ascent, a face, all are recorded in these strengthened pathways, ready to be recalled when the pattern is touched again. Memory is not stored in a single place like books on a shelf, but spread across networks of neurons, woven into the flow of electricity that animates you. To remember is to let the current run again, tracing its way along familiar routes, awakening echoes of past light. At night, when you close your eyes, the current does not stop. It changes its rhythm, slowing, deepening, weaving dreams. In dreams, neurons fire in strange, wandering patterns, connecting images and feelings that do not meet in waking life. A childhood memory may blend with a landscape never seen. A voice may speak words never spoken. This is the electricity that dreams within you, reshaping fragments of experience into stories. Dreams are not random sparks. They are the brain's way of wandering, of processing, of healing, carried always by electricity, as steady as the pulse of a hidden tide. The body itself listens to this current. Each heartbeat begins with an electrical signal in a cluster of cells, the pacemaker of the heart. The signal spreads, telling muscle fibers to contract, pushing blood through veins and arteries. If the signal falters, the rhythm stumbles. Doctors can measure these signals with electrodes, tracing lines on a screen that show the dance of your heart's electricity. If the rhythm is lost, a shock of electricity from outside can restore it, reminding the heart of its pattern, setting the dance to rights again. Life depends on this current, steady and unseen. Muscles, too, obey the call of electricity. When you decide to move your hand, the thought begins as an electrical wave in your brain. It travels down the spinal cord into nerves, reaching the muscle fibers. There it causes calcium to rush in, proteins to shift, fibers to shorten. The hand moves simple and graceful. Every gesture, every step, every breath is powered by these electrical whispers. Without them, the body would be silent, unable to act. With them, it becomes a symphony of movement, each note directed by currents that you rarely notice. The senses are gateways tuned to this current. Light enters your eyes, striking molecules that trigger electrical signals. Sound vibrates in your ears, moving hairs that translate motion into charges. Touch presses the skin, bending receptors that send signals into nerves. All of these sensations are written in electricity, converted into currents the brain can read. To see, to hear, to feel is to translate the world into patterns of charge. You do not see photons or hear waves of air directly. You experience the electricity they create within you. In this way, the current inside you is not only the source of thought and dream, but also the bridge between self and world. And beneath thought and sense, there is balance. Neurons fire not all at once, but in rhythms, waves that sweep across the brain like tides across a shore. Sometimes the waves are fast, sharp, alert. Sometimes they are slow, deep, calm. These brainwaves shape your states of being, waking, sleeping, dreaming. They are the music of your inner world, patterns of electricity moving in harmony. When you rest deeply, your brain hums with slow waves, steady and soothing. When you dream, the waves quicken, darting like fireflies. These rhythms are not random. They are the order behind the seeming chaos of thought, the silent music of your mind. Now consider how fragile yet resilient this current is. Too much imbalance and it falters. A seizure is the sudden storm of neurons firing without order, an overwhelming surge that disrupts thought. Too little current and the body weakens, unable to move or respond. Yet within its range, the electricity of life is steady, constant, always adjusting, always adapting. It does not need your command to continue. It simply flows, guided by the rules of ions and membranes, of charges and fields. It is the same physics that moves lightning, yet here it is gentle, sustaining, tender. And so the electricity that dreams within us is both vast and intimate. It is born of the same laws that shape storms and stars, yet it becomes personal in the circuits of neurons and the rhythm of a heart. It is the language of your body, the bridge between thought and action, between world and self. It is the current that lets you move, remember, imagine, and rest. You live within it, though you rarely feel it directly. It is always there, like breath, like heartbeat, like the steady turning of earth. Silent, patient, endless, it carries the dream of who you are. Let us drift further into the hidden current, where the electricity within us becomes more than a mechanism and begins to resemble a song. Imagine sitting quietly with your eyes closed. Around you, the world is silent, yet inside, billions of neurons are alive with movement. They fire in patterns too fast for you to notice, each pulse lasting only milliseconds. Together they form waves of activity, a silent ocean that rises and falls in your skull. It is this electricity that carries your thoughts, not as single sparks, but as networks of rhythms, weaving the endless tapestry of awareness. Think of the brain not as a machine, but as a forest lit by fireflies. Each neuron flickers on and off, signaling to its neighbors. One firefly's light may spark another's until thousands glow in sequence. Some pulses fade, others strengthen, and patterns emerge. These patterns are thoughts, memories, feelings. They do not reside in one firefly or one neuron, but in the coordinated dance of many. The electricity is not random, though it may appear so. It is guided by connection, strengthened by repetition, and shaped by the needs of the moment. A single word, a single melody, can set fireflies glowing across the whole forest at once, illuminating pathways long dormant. Memory is bound to this electricity. When you learn something new, certain neurons fire together, creating a trace of connection. The more often the connection is used, the stronger it becomes, as though a path through grass becomes clearer with each step. This strengthening is called plasticity, the brain's ability to change itself. Electricity is the tool of this change. Without it, neurons would not communicate, paths would not form, memories would not hold. Each recollection you carry is a ripple of current, a reawakening of patterns etched into the living forest of your mind. Dreams, too, rise from this current. During sleep, the firing of neurons takes on a different rhythm, shifting into waves of activity that weave images, feelings, and fragments of memory. A forgotten voice may mingle with a landscape you have never seen. The brain uses the electricity of dreams to reorganize, to process, to integrate the day's experiences. To dream is not to lose control, but to drift deeper into the rhythms of the current, letting it wander where it will. Dreams are proof that the electricity inside you is more than signal. It is imagination, creation, a generator of worlds that exist only while your eyes are closed. The body beyond the brain is no less dependent on this current. Nerves stretch from the spinal cord into every limb, every fingertip, every toe. When you decide to move, the signal begins in your brain as a wave of charge. It travels down the nerve, reaching muscles that respond by contracting, bending, stretching. To stand, to reach, to walk is to summon electricity, to let it pass into flesh and bone. Without electricity, your body would be motionless, inert. With it, you become capable. Lure of grace, the lift of a hand, the leap of a dancer, the steady stride of a traveler. Electricity is not just the source of movement, it is the poetry of motion itself. Consider touch. When your fingers graze the surface of water, receptors in your skin convert the pressure into electrical signals. These signals travel upward through nerves and the spinal cord into your brain where they are read as sensation. The coolness, the ripple, the softness, all are interpretations of electrical messages. The world you feel is written in this language, every brush of wind, every warmth of sunlight, every softness of fabric. Without electricity, sensation would be impossible. With it, the world becomes vivid, immediate, alive. Sight is also carried on the current. Photons strike the retina, setting off changes in molecules that release charges, sending signals along the optic nerve. These signals are patterns of electricity, and the brain interprets them as images. You do not see light directly, you see the electrical messages it creates. The same is true for sound. Vibrations in the air bend tiny hairs in the ear, releasing charges that flow as signals to the brain. You do not hear waves of air directly. You hear the electricity they inspire. In every sense, the current is the bridge, translating the external world into inner experience. Yet electricity is not only function, it is also rhythm. Brainwaves shift depending on your state of mind. In deep sleep, slow waves roll gently like tides on a quiet shore. In waking, faster waves dart and spark, ready for thought and action. In moments of focus, rhythms synchronize, different parts of the brain firing in harmony. In meditation, waves may grow steady, balanced, calm. These rhythms are the music of your mind, though you cannot hear them with ears. Scientists can trace them with electrodes, drawing patterns of lines that reveal your inner tempo. Each person carries a unique song of electricity, shifting with mood, time, and state. This electricity is fragile yet resilient. An imbalance of ions may disturb it, an injury may disrupt it, yet it strives to return to order. Doctors can measure its rhythms to detect seizures, fainting, sleep disorders. They can even guide it with gentle stimulation, using small currents to encourage healing or to steady faltering rhythms. The electricity inside you is not just natural. It can also be guided, supported, reminded of its balance. In this way, it is like a river that can be dammed, redirected, or freed, yet always it seeks to flow, to return to its path. When you dream, when you wake, when you remember or imagine, electricity is always there. It is the common thread of life, connecting every thought, every motion, every sense. It is silent, invisible, yet constant, as much a part of you as the beat of your heart. Without it, you would not be yourself. With it, you become capable of wonder, of memory, of love. The electricity that dreams within us is not separate from storms or stars. It is the same force, expressed more gently, more intimately, shaping the story of your inner world as surely as it shapes the galaxies above. Now let us follow the current to its gentle ending, where the electricity within us becomes not only the spark of life, but also the dream of who we are. Imagine sitting by a quiet window as night deepens. The world outside is still, yet inside your body electricity flows ceaselessly. Neurons fire in delicate rhythms, your heart beats with steady pulses, your muscles rest but remain tuned to respond. You may feel calm, but within you is a hidden storm of currents, a storm not of chaos but of order, weaving your consciousness moment by moment. This storm does not rage loudly like thunderclouds or flaring suns. It hums softly, like a secret music known only to you. Every thought you hold is written in this current. When you recall the face of a loved one, when you trace a memory of childhood, when you imagine a tomorrow not yet lived, it is electricity that carries these images. Neurons spark and connect, pathways light up, and the pattern becomes awareness. If the pattern fades, the memory is lost. If the pattern strengthens, the memory endures. You are, in a way, a being of patterns, your selfhood an ongoing dance of charges. To know yourself is to know this electricity, though you can never see it directly. You live within it, as fish live within water, as stars live within fields of gravity. Consider how this current connects you not only to yourself but also to others. When you speak, your words begin as electrical signals in your brain. They travel into nerves, moving muscles in tongue and throat, releasing sound. The sound reaches another's ears, where it is transformed into electrical signals again, traveling into their brain. Communication is, at its root, an exchange of electricity between minds, carried by air and sound. Even silence carries connection. A glance, a touch, both translate. By electricity into meaning. The bonds between people are not abstract, they are pulses of current moving across the spaces between. The current is also a bridge to the world. Each sensation you know, sight, sound, touch, taste, smell, is carried by electricity. A sunset's glow becomes patterns of charge in your retina. A bird's song becomes vibrations transformed into electrical waves in your ear. The warmth of sunlight on your skin becomes currents in nerves. You never experience the world directly. You experience the translation, the electrical rendering of reality within you. And yet this translation is so immediate, so seamless, that it feels as though the world itself is alive inside your mind. In truth, it is the electricity that dreams the world into being for you. Even your emotions are written in current. Joy, sorrow, fear, love, all are shaped by patterns of firing neurons, by circuits strengthened or quieted, by rhythm speeding or slowing. This does not diminish their meaning. To know that love is electricity does not make it less profound. It makes it more wondrous that such a simple force can give rise to such depth. Electricity by itself is silent, without color, without feeling. But in the living brain it becomes warmth, meaning, tenderness. It becomes the quiet tears of loss, the laughter shared between friends, the awe of watching stars. The electricity that dreams within us is not mechanical. It is poetry written in pulses, the translation of energy into experience. And when you sleep, the current continues. Dreams are the brain's wandering, neurons firing in loops and spirals, replaying fragments of life, blending them into new stories. A memory of walking a path may mix with the image of a distant ocean. A voice may echo words never spoken. The brain, freed from the strict logic of waking, lets the current flow into rivers of imagination. Dreams may feel strange, yet they are also healing. They help the mind weave meaning, process emotion, and prepare for the days to come. To dream is to let electricity play freely, painting inner skies as vast as the outer heavens. There is mystery in this, still unanswered. How does electricity create awareness? How does the firing of neurons, precise but simple, give rise to thought, to self, to the sense of I am? Science has traced much of the mechanism, but the essence remains elusive. Perhaps it will always remain so, for consciousness may be more than the sum of its parts. It may be the melody that emerges when all the instruments play together, a song greater than the notes alone. If so, electricity is not the entire story, but it is the breath of the song, the medium through which self arises. Your life begins with this current. Before you take your first breath, your heart begins to beat with electrical pulses, and your life ends when this current ceases. Between beginning and end, electricity carries every moment, every joy, every grief, every thought, every dream. It is the constant companion you never see, the quiet tide that shapes your days. You are more than it, yet you cannot be without it. You are flesh and thought, memory and hope, but you are also current, always flowing, always alive. Now imagine again the world outside your window. Storms may pass, stars may burn, fields may shift, but within you the current continues. You are not separate from the universe's great forces. The same electricity that flashes in lightning, that powers the sun, that weaves magnetic fields across galaxies, also whispers in your neurons. The scale is different, but the essence is the same. The universe dreams through storms and stars, and it dreams through you. The electricity that dreams within us is not only personal, it is cosmic, a thread linking your smallest thought to the largest galaxies. And so we arrive at the close. The electricity within you is not a machine, not a simple flow of charge. It is life, awareness, connection. It is the force that lets you love, remember, imagine, and dream. It is the same energy that lights the sky, now tenderly lighting the mind. When you rest tonight, when you close your eyes and drift into dreams, know that the current continues, whispering softly, weaving stories, holding you in its embrace. You are not separate from it, for you are it. The electricity that dreams within us is the universe itself, alive, flowing, endless.